Hello and welcome to the Video Gamer podcast. My name is Matt Lees, talking in a strange way, and I'm joined by Simon Miller.
Hello, everybody.
You look really miserable today, Simon.
I'm a bit miserable, to be honest.
Oh.
Yeah, my hamstring hurts and I'm quite tired.
Can we just point out that Simon's currently sitting on a pack of frozen peas, and it's freaking me out.
Icing my injured muscle.
You don't do that in front of other guys, man.
I think it's fine.
It's also just put some trousers on.
No, why would I do that? I want to get this ice right into the muscle, deep like.
I've got to say, it's only when you've got a bag of frozen peas and a towel underneath your leg that I notice how big your legs are.
I'm not very happy with my legs at the moment. I'm getting upset, but we don't need to talk about that.
Anyway, they're intense. We're also joined, I should add, by Chris Bratt.
Good morning, if you're listening to this in the morning.
And by David Scammell.
Hello, how are you today?
I'm all right, Dave. Thanks very much for asking.
It sounds like a David Scammell soundboard. Like you're not actually here and we pushed a button. Hello, how are you today?
Are you an Android?
I am well.
I don't know what
Press
you're
the
talking
Dave
about.
button. Hi, I'm David Scammell. How are you today?
Yeah.
I'm well, thank you.
See, oh God, he's answering you.
Everyone's talking like robots.
Welcome
to the RoboCast, sponsored by robots.
Yeah, no, all good. I am normal. I'm here. Well, I say I'm normal. I'm as normal.
That's exactly
I'm as
what
normal as I normally am.
would say.
You're as normal as you'll ever be. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Days.
Good times. What have you guys been playing?
I've been playing some video games. I've been playing a game called Rhyme de Capsule. I think that's how you say it. Is that
Rhyme de Capsule.
Just
Is that how
stop
you
the
say it?
podcast. Just kill it now.
It's
Rim de Capsule.
Is this an indie
Rhyme de
game?
Capsule.
It's a really annoying name.
I found out it's Swedish for space capsule.
Yeah, I know.
That's
And it's like,
trivia.
it's really kind of dumb that they called it that because it's a fun little game, but I wish they just called it Space Capsule.
They did.
What are they
I know,
called
The
it?
Swedish people.
But the problem is, I heard about that game because somebody told me about it, and then I tried to find it because it was obviously originally a mobile phone
I
game.
won't lie. I have had to double check the spelling a
Yeah,
few times.
like I mean, that's basically
I don't understand these. What's it called? Rims de capsule.
It's a Swedish word, so
Why
it's
can't I
not.
just call it like Blood Dragon? Skull Blood.
Well, because
not its
Blood
name.
Dragon's an actual game already. I
that's true. Well,
suppose.
just like Death Toll.
Swedish space
Just something
capsule.
cool.
There you
Well,
are.
I mean, it's
Done.
quite an arty game anyway, but I
Okay.
think that
Arrow Sword.
I'm not an SEO monster, but at the same time, there is a degree of being like, somebody told me about it, I tried to find it on my phone.
Yeah.
And when you get to the App Store, you just type in the name of what you're looking for.
Yeah.
And there's, I mean, Angry Birds kind of got it right with that.
Yeah.
You just type in birds. What's
Yeah,
that thing with the
comes out.
birds?
Oh,
There's
yeah,
that
Angry
one.
Birds, yeah.
Whereas what's rimmed capsule, I was like, how do I spell it?
I would think it's some kind of sexual act.
But how are you getting on with it?
Yeah, Rhyme de Capsule, Rim de Capsule. It's a base building game, and you collect resources, you protect your dudes from waves of attacks, and it starts out very simple, but it kind of gets the waves get progressively more difficult and happen more and more often. So you have to figure out how to build a base where everyone can get around quickly enough. That seems to be one of the biggest.
Yeah.
Like that's the big problem that you
That's
face.
the puzzle, basically. And it's kind of fun, but it's a puzzle game where you just solve that puzzle of being like, because you can only build like 5 or 6 different types of room. And it's more that you kind of like, you watch the way that the little people on your spaceship move around.
Yeah. And their pathing can be a little bit frustrating.
Weird. Well, it's
sometimes.
frustrating because it doesn't make a lot of sense sometimes.
So when you build a new room, they will have to go and collect the resources from wherever they're stored and then take them to the base, which can sometimes take 20 seconds for them to do that activity, in that amount of time you may get attacked.
Yeah.
And if that happens, you normally need to tell them to stop what they're doing and defend the base instead. So trying to find the time to actually build your base is the challenge of it.
Yeah, and also you just have to make sure that you kind of encourage you to go to the edge of the map where there's these big obelisks that you can research. But then the problem is the distance they have to travel to get out there, it means you then need to be able to make sure that they have a security room nearby so they can dash in and pick up the guns and defend against the aliens. Otherwise...
Yeah, and just building that in the first place is difficult because you need to get all your resources are usually in the middle of your base, at least at the start, and you need to try and get them to this outer edge.
We should probably point out, actually,
tricky.
the whole... the way the game works, really, is it's basically a bit like a cross between... a strategy game and Tetris.
Yeah.
The fact that you get these different shapes and you can choose what kind of room that shape will be, including corridors. But it's basically that thing of trying to be really efficient in terms of twisting around these Tetris shapes to create a base that kind of makes sense, but also uses space and kind of pathing as efficiently as possible. It's kind of fun, but the problem I had with it is I found it, as I say, I did find it a bit difficult at first, actually, because I thought, I didn't realise that I was
I had even though you told me, I know what you're going to say, because you start off with a kind of tutorial, don't you? It's like, here are your objectives. So first build this room to get these resources, and then build this room to do this. And then before you know it, you're actually playing the game. It feels like you're in a tutorial level, but that base that you've built, that's usually pretty rubbish, you've started. And you don't actually, I didn't realize that until I was like, oh, wait, this is actually, if I complete all of these objectives, that's the game.
Yeah, and that kind of annoyed me.
You can do that in under 45 minutes is actually one of the objectives, which you're not going to be able to do unless you're doing pretty well at the game.
That's the thing, is you can't really do it's tough. I don't know, actually. If you started the game from scratch, I could probably just complete the game in 45 minutes now, because I know how to do it.
I think I could now, but when you first start, it's tricky. And so in total, like, once you get to that stage and once you've managed to complete it in that set time period, there isn't really much else to the game. And this was released on touch devices first last year, and that kind of makes sense for that, because there's probably, like, I don't know, you're probably going to get like 3-4 hours of gameplay out of it. But on a PC game, it always feels a little bit different. 3 to 4 hours feels quite short for a lot of PC games. And once you've completed that objective, they have added some other modes. I think one of them just makes it the waves more difficult, and I think the other one just takes the enemies out altogether.
The thing is,
I think that's as far as the game goes.
It's not enough.
I think for a PC port, you need to flesh it out a little bit more.
I think it's enough, because, I mean, to be honest, I enjoyed it as a phone game, but it kind of ticked the boxes of a phone game in the fact that I got kind of really obsessed with playing it for about 3 or 4 hours, and then I basically, what I assumed was me finishing the first level, it then just went, congratulations, and then showed me the credits, and I was like, what?
It doesn't make that clear, really, does it?
It doesn't.
Because I felt like, I felt like it was a really, really good start to the game.
Yeah, precisely.
And then that's actually it. You're done there. And it's annoying, because I can imagine you've got on a handheld, you've got like a half an hour journey somewhere. Oh, I wonder if I can complete a game of this. That makes sense. But
the problem is, because there's no variation, it is just a case of there's no special waves, there's no random element in terms of when the enemies come. It's very set in stone. Like, the first one takes 3 minutes, second one takes 3 minutes, and then it gets faster and faster.
But the piece is randomised,
or is the pieces are randomised?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that's the only variation, really. Your base will end up looking different just because the blocks you're given will be different. But
there's no replay value. That's the problem. Is once you've done it, once you've finished the game once, it's not like I got really addicted to what's it called? Something Town, Triple Town. I got really addicted to Triple Town because it was randomised enough that just trying to see how far I could get and dealing with the challenges it would give you would give it really good replay value. But after I've beaten the game, it's like because the randomised shapes aren't enough to keep it different, it's just a case of you work out a general strategy for how to do it. And once you've done that, you've solved the puzzle of the game, and it's just not fun to play anymore.
Which kind of sucks, because I actually think what's there is really good. I really enjoyed it.
It's a good proof of concept, but it's not... It's as you say, I thought I was getting to the end of the first level, and I was like, hey, this game's really cool.
It feels
I wonder what it's going to add next time.
Brilliant introduction to a game. Like, if that was the starting level and there was a significant amount to follow, I'd be chuffed with it. I think that would be perfect.
It's just the way it's so simplistic that you kind of think, this is fun, but I'm really interested to see where this goes and how it opens up and what they add in the next level, and the fact there isn't the next level. I don't know. I mean, I enjoyed it on the phone, but I got it because it was really highly reviewed everywhere. Actually, to be fair, I think whoever did it for us gave it a really high review as well on the phone. But it was critically acclaimed across the board.
Yeah.
And when I got my Android phone, because there's no good games on Android, because basically people go, please make it on Android. And then when it comes out on Android, everyone goes, thanks, now we're going to pirate the fuck out of it. So developers, for reasonable reasons, aren't making games for it. But because of that, I was trying to find good Android games. And all of the critically acclaimed Android games are like wanky as fuck. Like, I was really shocked by it, in the fact that it's just, maybe because of the nature of that's how people who buy phone games don't go and read them up. They just look at ratings on the store and just go, well, that's got 5-star rating. It must be good, pardon me. But all the sites reviewing games, it's just like, I downloaded all of them. I spent about £5-6 on a couple of games, and they were all just like this, right. They've got loads of 9s and 10s. People said it was amazing. It's like, have you ever played a real-time strategy game before? This is not a 9 out of 10.
It can be a weird marketplace, though. I remember I used to do a few reviews for iOS games, and there's just there's so many games ruined by microtransactions that follow the same format. And I imagine in that marketplace, it feels very, very different. And it's a nice idea. It is weird though, because I almost feel like there's a specific type of
ego thing going on with this sort of game.
Well, there's any idea of like, look, we've got a proper game.
Well, not just that. I think it's more like what you play in your own room and in your own time on your own is just like people might like to talk about the cool games. Like, oh yeah, I played Braid. Of course, I play Braid and Fez. But I kind of wonder if games like this, because it looks so stylish, it's so slick, the production of this game, that it's almost like people like having these games on their phones so they can be sitting on a train and just be like, oh yeah, you're all playing Angry Birds, I'm playing this. And people, as if the idea of going,
it's actually Swedish for space capsule.
Yeah,
I don't know if you know that.
It kind of feels like almost there's an element of it being
gaming.
Showy in the fact that you know that there'll be people next to you going, oh, what's that? I've never seen that game before. It's not Angry Birds. It's like, no, I don't play that sort of thing. I play this. And I wonder if that is an element of why people love this sort of thing.
Who knows?
Because as a game, it's just not all that.
Yeah.
Talking of that, I need your help. There's a game that I see people playing all the time on the train. It's not Candy Crush Saga. Well,
is this the third-person shooter? Because I've suddenly seen it everywhere.
No. It's a puzzle game, and it's like a sort of circuit board, and you have different colour points on this. Well, it's not a map, but it's like a grid, and you need to connect the different coloured dots to each other without crossing the paths of the other colours, if you see what I mean. So there's one solution per level, and everyone plays it, and I don't know where it's come from. I don't know what it's called. So I wondered if
I have no idea, but somebody in the comments will know.
If anyone knows, then please let me know, because I'd like to give it a go. It looks like a very basic game, but quite a good little puzzle game.
I saw two people playing a mobile game the other day, one person on a tablet, one person on a phone. It was clearly the same game, and it was, to be fair, it was quite impressive. It was like a third-person shooter with setting like nondescript Middle Eastern land, but it had really good graphics, and this guy was just playing on his phone. He was rolling around behind cover, popping up, going to first person mode and shooting people in the head, and it was one of those things where I was watching it going, how much control have you actually got over that? Because it looks really slick, but it's like you're doing that with a touch screen. But I saw quite a lot of people playing it.
Well, do you guys play many mobile games?
No.
Well, as we're talking about mobile games, I want to talk about Shadow Blade.
Oh,
which
right,
came out
actually,
last
you
week.
seem to rave
Shadow
about
Blade's
this,
fucking
right?
badass. Everyone's got to get Shadow Blade. I think it costs $1.99. It's just a basic. It's your basic.
Is it an Android?
I think it's an Android. You know, I think it's just iOS. I don't know. But it's your basic kind of platformer slashy hack game. But you know, it's so. Like when you were saying, it's just so slick and it's so well done. And my biggest problem with all games like this is you try and do the controls. It's like fuck this.
It's like Shank. Like Shank, but on.
Yeah, it's a bit like Shank,
right.
but better. It's better than Shank. I didn't really like Shank, but it's just the way it controls is effortless. You know, it's just you hold the right side of the screen to run right.
Like a virtual joystick kind of thing.
You can use the controls. I use it but I never felt the need to use it because the touchscreen controls or the swipe controls were so good that it works perfectly.
So how do you move around then?
You hold the right. So you hold touch the screen right to go right, touch the screen left to go left, swipe up to jump. And you kind of just swipe towards a person to attack them and stuff. But it slowly teaches you how to segue all these things together. So there was one point where I think, I did a double jumped over a platform and I threw my sword down into this guy's head. Then I rolled into other guys, stabbed him in this thing. It's an amazing combo on a touch screen. That's amazing.
I like that.
I've got the image of you're thinking, oh man, that was so cool. Did you see what I did? In reality, it's you just like swiping all over your touchpad like a crazy person. It doesn't matter.
It did what I wanted it to do, and because it works so well.
I think to be honest, with touchscreen controls, that's good.
But that's the thing.
It did what I wanted it to do.
It did what I wanted it to do. So that to me is a victory straight away. But it must know they've achieved it because some of the platform you get in the later levels is really hard. Like it's not, mobile budget stuff. It's proper sort of hardcore. I died a lot of times, and not because the game, was punishing me, because I wasn't good enough, and I had to get better. I mean, it's excellent. It's one of the best mobile games I've ever played.
It sounds a bit like Mirror's Edge on iOS. Did you try that?
It was a bit like
the
that.
Control setup,
but you have more control over it,
right?
You do on Mirror's Edge, but I did enjoy the Mirror's Edge iOS game. But you have more control over it, but it's just, and the presentation is awesome. Like they've obviously put a lot of money into it and stuff, and the music's great, and it looks really, really good. But honestly, download Shadowblade right now, £1.99. If you don't like it, so what? £2.
This is the last £2 I have in my life.
That's more than half of a Boots meal deal, Simon.
Well, that's true.
It's true.
But, sacrifice your Boots meal deal, have a protein shake, and download Shadowblade.
That sounds cool. I mean, there were a lot of touch devices try and emulate playing with a controller, doing the whole virtual.
Well, I played fucking Duke Nukem Manhattan Project as well.
I usually get really annoyed at that because you colour up half the screen with big fat thumbs.
I'm pretty sure it has about 15 button prompts on screen. So as soon as it loads up, you look at it and you go, nah, fuck this. Like, unbelievable. Just buttons everywhere, or just over your HUD. And you're like, what do you expect me to do? Awful game. Nothing out of 10.
I've got to say, I was playing over Christmas. I was playing Ridiculous Fishing. Have you played that?
Everyone loves it.
It's really good. I mean, that's the thing is, it's sort of like, everyone's already talked about it loads and everyone loves it. But I realised it had come out on Android, so I bought it and played it over Christmas. And it's really, really fun.
Is it?
It's really funny. It's very simple. It didn't take me that long to complete either. It's another one, a burner. You know, I played it for about 7 hours straight, and then I was done.
I was done, yeah.
But it's really funny.
Has the clone of that been taken down? What ended up happening?
Ludicrous Fishing.
Yeah.
Wasn't cool.
It wasn't Ludicrous Fishing. It was something else to do with R, but like
starring Ludacris.
Yeah, that's a game. Come on, Ludacris, make that game. I'll play the shit out of it.
But I think the difficulty with mobile games, and the reason I don't really play many of them, because it is difficult, and I mean, I guess people like, to be honest, there aren't a lot of people saying, why don't you talk about mobile games more often? Usually it's people saying, why don't you talk about Wii U games more often? But mobile games are obviously a huge part of the market now, but it's just so frustrating to play them as a critic.
There's so many as well, that's the thing.
Yeah, but I find the problem is as well, is it used to be you knew where you stood. In fact, if you were paying for a game, then you were paying for a game, and that was it. If it was a free game, then you might be like getting really shafted really early on from microtransactions. But now the lines have just blurred so much that sometimes you get free games that pretty much like let you play for free, no worries.
Sometimes you pay
for a game and then it wants to fucking bleed you. Yeah. And I don't know, it's not even about being a purist. It's like I saw these people playing this third-person shooty game and it's really slick, and I was like, wow, this looks like a really impressive mobile tech, and it reminded me how far things come along. But it reminded me also, I'm always like, that looks like kind of fun. Maybe I should try it. But then the number of games I've played thinking this is really good fun, and I've invested about 3 hours into it. Just when I'm getting into it, suddenly the difficulty curve just goes mental because it wants you to spend a bit of money.
Yeah, I've kind of found that recently. I've been playing Plants vs. Zombies 2 as my kind of...
Yeah, it's the reason I haven't touched it. And I love Plants vs. Zombies.
It doesn't make it necessarily more difficult at the 3 hour stage. It just becomes more boring because you've played with the same plants, it's kind of a tower defense game.
You want something to mix it up.
Yeah, and those are usually locked behind barriers that you can open with keys that you get very rarely, or you can buy them. And because of that, I haven't changed the setup I use for so long.
And it's such a shame because the original Plants vs. Zombies, I honestly think, is one of the best examples of pacing in any game ever.
Agreed.
In the fact that it's not a difficult game at all. It's not challenging, really. I think I failed one mission once in the whole game. But it constantly feeds you new things to try, even if it's just like, the introduction of Crazy Dave and then the introduction of the fact that he's selling stuff out the back of his car. Yeah. And it keeps surprising you and giving you interesting new things all the way through.
And the maps change, so you have to do that.
There's games like Candy Crush Saga and Simpsons Tap Tale. The amount of money they make, no one, especially from a big publisher, is not going to try and tap into that model.
I think it was $170 million EA made from Tap-Tale last quarter.
Yeah,
it's something like that though that Candy Crush makes every day.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. So these people look at it and they go, "Why on earth were we going to take our popular franchise and just reiterate on that when we can completely take on this model that we may not like it, but in general the mass population seems to be digging it a lot."
I don't even think like PVZ 2, if you want to call it that.
Not really. But we're here now, so
I don't think it's definitely not the worst example of that. And like the first few hours of it,
iOS is the worst example of that.
Really,
one weapon costs £170.
What?
That's not real.
It is.
You kind of feel like a lot of that stuff is just set up to try and screw over kids who shouldn't have access to stuff. How do they frame that?
Well, we figured it out. Like, so this, I can't remember what the weapon was, but it costs let's say 20,000 RoboCop points or whatever. And we worked it was something like for 6,000 RoboCop points, it cost like 70 quid. We worked it out, and the gun was £170, £169.99.
But who would ever pay that? Who would want that weapon that much?
It's a pretty good weapon.
Yeah, but in a game like that.
What?
I'm not being serious.
I honestly think that a lot of these things are cynically set up because people still, with the age of instant purchases, people still aren't savvy to the fact that you have to have like parental controls on that stuff.
Yeah, so a kid will just click
they hand the kid the phone. The amount of times you see news stories, I think it's got to the point now actually where it's become such a boring story that newspapers and stuff just aren't really covering it anymore. Yeah. But I think it still happens all the time of kids spending hundreds and hundreds of pounds.
Well, I think aren't there guidelines now? They have to put a cap on it. I think it's £20 a day. I think they have to cap it at. I think.
But how are you going to buy the RoboCop gun?
Well, yeah.
Damn it.
Man, that's ridiculous.
I don't know, but
that's stupid. I mean, I get it though. It's so easy. Even at this age,
I don't get that. I don't get £170.
No, but music. I get it with music. Like every now and then when I get an urge to listen to an album. Back in the day, I've probably gone, well, I won't buy it right now. I'll get it, in a few weeks. Now I just tap a button. Yeah. There it is on my phone or on my iPod within, a minute.
That's why I love Bandcamp, actually. I was listening recently to, tying it back to games, actually, was listening to Soundtrack by what's he called? One of the guys did the Hotline Miami soundtrack. Perturbator.
Nice.
I don't know how you say it, but anyway, he's got an album on there that he's recorded that is just like, it's properly mint. It's like a cross between Hotline Miami and RoboCop. It's just like, and it even has this like dark intro where it's like, everyone knows things are bad. Of course they're bad. They're worse than bad. And it's like the Darty's dirt. I can't speak today.
It's all right, Matt.
But
with you.
I was just listening to it on Bandcamp, and I'm like this, and it's like, it says you can buy it for $5.
Yeah.
I'm like, done.
Yeah.
Like, I'll give you
Tap-ins and buttons.
I'll give you £3. Done.
So imagine you're a kid. Imagine you're a kid is even easier. It's still dumb. It shouldn't happen, but I understand why it happened.
Yeah, I just think it's a shame, and it's really so frustrating because you invest all this time into these games, and then you realise suddenly that you hate it and you don't want to play it anymore. Yeah. And it's not just an investment of money; it is an investment of time. I find, especially with games like where there's a slight RPG element, you get attached to what you're doing, and then you get to a certain point and realise you've been shafted, but they've already got you by the balls. I really resent that. And it's impossible not to sound like a snob with this stuff, but actually it just makes me sad because so many people have got into gaming through these games, and they don't understand that there are better experiences. And it's not to do with the context, and it's not to do with like, you shouldn't be playing that stupid kiddie gem matching game. It's more the fact...
Oh, no, I don't think anyone should be playing that kiddie gem matching game.
Well, I think it's more...
I hate Candy Crush.
I don't like it either, but I think it's sad because so many people, because they have got into gaming through these methods, they think that that's just the way it is. How you're having fun for a while, and then you can't have fun unless you spend some money.
That's true.
And
they don't understand, man.
It's not about the tone of the game. It's more the fact that we have had the experience of growing up with a well-crafted gameplay curve, and something that is designed to unlock and flow for the benefit at all times of providing a good time to the player. And I think it's just that perfect curve, like games like Resident Evil 4 and Plants vs Zombies,
Super Mario World,
like all these games that like are classics. Ocarina of Time, or any game that we deem to be an absolute classic, I think just is because of that. It's because it feeds you stuff at just the right time.
Yeah, exactly. Keeps you going, keeps you interested.
And all this new stuff is just based on science. It's all based on serotonin loops and feedback loops, and literally like knowing how long they can take the piss out of you before they need to give you another shiny gold coin and a nice noise. And I just think it's weirdly sterile, and I don't think it creates things that are worthwhile. And I think it's sad that people don't, because they haven't got this frame of reference, they just think that that's the way games are.
Video games.
And they aren't. They're better than that.
I know. But that's the world, man. That's the world we live in. It's a sad place.
Yeah.
Onwards we go.
Onwards we go.
Looking back.
Well, I've been playing, actually, on the topic of RPGs and handheld stuff, I've been playing Bravely Default.
Nice.
Because obviously you played the demo.
Yeah, that's right.
Quite a lot.
Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot.
The demo is actually like not representative of the game in a way.
Have you got the full version?
Yeah, I bought the full version yesterday on a whim.
Okay, so how does the whole, supporting your town and the social aspect of it transfer to the real game? Well,
I've only just started it, but obviously because I played the demo, I've taken over like 20 villages at the start. So I've already unlocked like a decent amount of bits of the town, and I've only just started. The thing I don't like about the demo in retrospect is it's not clear about where the boundaries are. It basically just goes, hey, this is Bravely Default. It's a demo. It's not like the full game. You're not going to play the main story.
Yeah, I don't know how close it is to the actual game. I guess that's...
That's the thing. Is it's fun, but it's simple stuff like all the job levels cap out at level 4. And it's like you've maxed out that job. And there's 24 jobs in the game. And I was like, is that it? But no, in the full game, the jobs go up to level 14 before they cap. So it's like, okay, there's loads more there. And also, like right from the start, it unlocks some other stuff that you can't do in the demo. The story's seems all right. It's got voice acting in it. Yeah, sure.
The demo story it
doesn't have a story.
There's a bigger monster over there, or you can kill this monster first. That's kind of...
I haven't unlocked any of the quests in the full game, but one of the things that really I was a bit in the demo was the fact that it kept being like, hey, go and get 5 bits from this monster. And it's like, really?
No, I don't want to do that.
We're doing get 5 things, get 10 things from killing these groups of monsters repeatedly.
Kill the boars.
I'm hoping that it doesn't do that to the same degree. But actually, I don't know. It seems super smart. And what I love most about Bravely Default is right from the start, it goes, hey, this is how you speed up the battles. And there's an option so you can make the battles like super fast forward.
Oh, that's good, because that's always the worst thing.
And then it's like, hey, press Y and it'll automate the battles for you. Like, it will just do the actions from last time that you entered. So it means you can basically
that's pretty cool.
Yeah. You can basically be like, cast a defensive spell, then attack the fuck out of the enemies.
Yeah.
And then you just press Y And then it means you can just walk around, and every time a random encounter happens, it will just, in turbo speed, just automate the battle.
I mean, that's for when you're walking through an area that you've covered a lot already.
Yeah.
Like, that's not.
I think some of the Tales games did that as well. I think that had an automatic system in it, but I don't know. I'm not a massive.
But it's automated and really fast, and you can even at any point change the battle ratio, which means you can basically be like, if you're walking through an area and you don't want to have any fights because the enemies are rubbish, they're low level, you can just go onto the menu and just make it so you don't encounter any enemies at all. But then if you're in an area where you want to grind or you want to kind of keep getting them, you can make it 200% so you get them all the time. So it basically means it allows you to just exactly choose the ratio of how often you have random encounters.
That's awesome, because that's the biggest problem with JRPGs. I mean, not necessarily so now, but definitely a few years ago.
Yeah.
Just so many contents. I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
It was all right at a certain point, but I feel like we've evolved a little bit, and I cannot walk through this aimless village, keep going into these battles. I already did the battles.
It means if you want to get somewhere, you just turn it off.
Exactly, yeah.
And then you get there without any fights.
That's brilliant.
But also it means if you find an area where you think, oh man, these guys are good, really XP, and I can kill them really easily, you can just set it to like double ratio and you can just grind. Even simple stuff like when you're looking for random encounters, you can be running into a wall and it will still count, which means that you can literally, I was doing this in bed the other day when my girlfriend was watching something on Netflix, and I was watching on Netflix as well, which watching The Walking Dead, while I'm just holding down sideways on the joystick, and it's just automating battles, and all I have to do is every couple of minutes just press the A button to skip the menu.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure I like that though. It's a bit absent.
No, it isn't, because, and this is what I loved it when they did it in Final Fantasy 12, is it's like you still to a degree have to like set up a system whereby
you've obviously crafted the order of the moves already.
I mean, it's not as in depth as it was in Final Fantasy 12. Obviously, that was an awesome system.
I quite like the actual battle system of Bravely Default is its best feature. I think I like it. I like how the job classes work, and I like the Brave and Default.
Yeah, it's good, and it opens up like really interestingly in the way you can do stuff. But I guess what I'm saying is like it always gets to a point with a JRPG where you have to grind, and that's their biggest fault. Is it gets to a point where it's like
boring. Yeah.
It's like, hey, now you're near the end of the game. Just go and kill monsters for about 5 hours, and you might be able to do it.
In the demo, I didn't find. We talked about this briefly after Christmas. I didn't find that until the very very end, because there's kind of like an end boss for the demo. It's like a dragon or something. And I'd managed to play the game at my own pace throughout the entire thing until this boss, and then suddenly I realised I needed better weapons because I was really struggling with the fight, and to do that you obviously need to
use
street
the town,
pass, and you can't unlock areas of the town unless you use workers to clear buildings and what have you, which you use street pass to get more workers. So the more people you run into, the quicker you'll be able to do that. And yeah, at the very end of it, I found that I had to start doing that. I did have to grind a little bit to just get the classes set up how I liked. And up until that point, I hadn't needed to do it. And it just felt like, I think you're doing a lot of things differently and new. And then suddenly, that's JRPGs.
I kind of feel like, and I haven't played enough of the main game yet to work it out, but I feel like in the demo particularly, it put more emphasis on that because I think the thing we have to remember is demos are like quite expensive to produce. They're more expensive to produce than you'd expect. And also they are something where, generally speaking, marketing is God. Mm-hmm. And it means that developers don't really give a piss about demos that much. They just want to make sure it's not
this
bad.
One did feel custom to an extent.
It did, but it's still a marketing tool. And it felt to me that the Bravely Default demo gave you a very, a good slice. I played it for 6 hours.
Yeah,
that's a great demo. But it is still very much putting the emphasis on, hey, Street Pass. If you get your friends to download the demo as well, they can help you in the battles. You can link stuff. So it kind of felt like they had put an artificial difficulty spike in the demo to encourage you to get your friends to install the demo as well. And,
I'm fine with that.
I don't think it's that bad in the main game, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I definitely want to play the main game, but I would like to know how close of a representation that part of it is, because that was the only bit that turned me off a little bit.
I get the impression not too much, because actually I've really started nailing the village in the single player game already. But the thing is, I've unlocked items that I can now buy that are really good. I can't afford them.
Yeah, of course.
Because it's I've got a hat I can buy that costs 1,000 gold, but I've only got 500.
Well,
and it's like, do I want to spend all my money on a hat?
That's good, to be honest.
Of course you do.
Of course I do, yeah.
At least it is capping you to an extent.
Yeah, I think so.
Otherwise, you would, because you play the demo, you'd be able to blitz it then.
Something that you can abuse, though, is every time you street pass somebody who plays Bravely Default,
you can use their abilities, right? I never did this.
Well, you can link with friends to use their abilities. I don't quite understand how that works yet. But more than that is, every time you street pass someone, if they've played Bravely Default, it allows you to use an attack from one of their characters.
Yeah.
And I got to the first boss fight in Bravely Default, and I just clicked on summon, and just there's some bloke called Jim,
Nice
who
one,
I passed
Jim.
in London Bridge.
Jim sorted you out.
Cheers for that, Jim. He had a character that he obviously played the game a lot. He had a character with an attack rating of 99999.
So just destroyed the shit
So
out
I
of
just used it on one of the bosses, and it was like I went from like doing 9 damage with my dagger to I did 8,846
There you
damage.
go.
Surprisingly, I killed the boss in one hit. Probably had about 100 health. So that's kind of like weirdly very open to abuse.
Yeah, I think I imagine you'll do the same. I intentionally just haven't tried to use
Yeah,
that.
I probably not.
Just because, I to be honest, I don't really want the social stuff in my JRPG. I
don't know,
Me
I'm-
old-fashioned in that respect, but it's
Old-fashioned.
weird, isn't it? Like
Hold a door open for a lady.
got out
And don't put your social stuff in my JRPG.
those are the rules I live by. A man must have a code.
I don't think it's fair
It's
to.
terrible.
I don't think it's fair to describe it as social stuff though. If it was like,
It is kind of though, isn't it?
I don't know. I mean, when I social, for me that always means it's like a business abbreviation for social media in my mind, and so I don't really mind it if it's something where you can go online, link up with friends, and do things. And
Well,
but if it was
well,
like
it's-
post this to Facebook for a bonus
Oh, God,
potion
yeah.
or something, I'd just be like fuck off and die.
Yeah, baby.
But
But it is. I mean, it is. There is a little bit of that there because I mean, you've asked me like the other day. Oh, mate, you haven't brought your 3DS in there because I could do with some more
I was
villages.
desperate for Street Pass, mate.
That's the social aspect. It wants you to ask me that, so I bring in the game and we talk about Bravely
But that's
Default.
nice.
And that was the purpose of the demo.
It's a lovely, lovely
Is it?
thing.
Is
Yeah.
it?
It's good to talk.
It's better than stabbing each other
Bob
in the
Holmes
face.
taught me that.
I think it is. I think it is quite nice.
Is it bringing us together? Is that what
Yeah,
Bravely
it's
Default?
nice.
There's also a weird system in the game that isn't a demo where basically it's like you can use these special points at any point in the battle to have an action. So like basically means that you can be about to get hit by a boss and you can just go bump, press a button, and out of nowhere just give orders to your team and basically like block. or something.
What does it cost you? How's that?
Well, it costs SP, which is like instead of BP, which is battle points,
Yeah.
main thing. Special
special
points. Or
points.
whatever.
I knew it'd be special.
Anyway, the way it works is there is actually microtransactions in the game. You can buy SP points with like spending money, but also you get SP points for every 8 hours that your 3DS has been in sleep mode whilst Bravely Default is running,
Right.
which is kind of awesome because it means it encourages you to keep your 3DS in sleep mode,
Which
so
means
you
you'll
get
get more Street
you get more
Passes.
Street Pass.
I guess that's a weird.
So, but it also means that I don't know. There's something quite cool about that. When I was
Yeah,
plugging in my
that's fair
3DS
play,
last
yeah.
night, instead of switching it off and plugging it into charge,
Yeah.
I just left it in sleep mode.
It was like, what was that game? This is not the same. This is a terrible comparison. What was that point and click game that came out on the original DS? It was about some girl that was like a white ghost.
Runaway, a turtle adventure.
No. Anyway, that thing.
Is that what it was called?
Well, that was one of the first games. One of the puzzles was you had to stamp something and you had to close the DS and physically stamp.
Wasn't
Oh,
that was in Zelda as well.
This is definitely before that. This is like one of the first DS games.
Because the Zelda one
the,
glitched
uh,
for ages.
the hotel one.
Yeah, but the one before that, not Dusk. The same people, they did one before that.
Yeah.
And it's that game. And I love stuff like that. I mean, it's pathetic, really, if you think about it. But it's just something nice about it. It's quaint.
Yeah.
But yeah, everyone will be going nuts now, going, it's this game. Well, good that you know.
But there was something I saw
don't.
in Bravely Default that kind of makes me think that's fucking awesome. Last night I was meeting some friends and I bumped into my mate Log, who is also playing Bravely Default, and he showed me his game, and he's like quite near the end now. He's got all the jobs and he's really leveling up, and he showed me something. He's like, this is what I love about this game. And he went into a battle and he just went bump and it just came up, said obliterate, and then everything died. And it was an automated
Sounds like
thing.
something I'd like in life.
And basically, it's an ability. Yeah, it would be useful.
Yeah.
London Bridge Station in the morning.
Yeah,
Fucking
exactly.
love it.
Fuck 'em.
But apparently, you have to do a quest to get it, and it's quite a hard quest. But then after you've got it, it's an ability you can equip that's just called Obliterate. And it means whenever you start a fight with enemies that aren't bosses, it kills them.
It's brilliant.
Basically,
I like
it just
this
means
game. I play this game.
It means when you get to the end game, once you've unlocked this, it just means that you don't have to grind. That's it. Like you don't grind anymore. It means every time you fight anything, it just dies and you get the
Yeah,
experience.
if that's in the right place in the game, that makes total sense.
And it's like,
It
I
gets
love that.
around-
That it just goes, if you got to the point in the game where you don't want to grind anymore, you've had enough of the battle system now. Don't do it.
Yeah, and
But that's good.
I love the balls.
I like
It's
it,
amazing.
yeah.
and it is addressing a problem with that genre, isn't it? They're saying, what do people dislike about JRPGs at the end game. You have to grind for the boss. Okay, how do we get around that? At least they're thinking in that.
Yeah.
They just minimise that
way.
process. There's so many like subtle things about it I really love already. Like even when you go into a new area, you know when you go into a nice area in a JRPG and it goes dun 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 dun, and it goes to the Crystal Cave and it shows you this panning shot of the Crystal Cave and you go ooh, and then that's
Crystal
the only
Cave,
time you see that panning shot. I mean, Final Fantasy used to do this all the time. You'd see a beautiful shot of the area, then it would zoom into where your character is.
Then you have the 30
And
second
then
cutscene.
that's it. You never see that again.
Yeah.
Simple thing, when you don't touch the controls in Bravely Default, the camera and whatever area you are, pans right out so you see a really nice big picture of the area you're in. And then when you start moving, it just pans back in.
Yeah.
Nice.
And it means that the beautiful art, it really shows it off.
It's really nice in the main town as well because
Yeah.
because of the way you're looking at it. It's like looking at a map. As it zooms out, you're like, oh, there's where I need to go. You start moving, it zooms on your character, and it works nicely.
It's smart. It's lovely. I'm looking forward to more because my mate Log didn't want to spoil anything for me. He was like really wanted to talk about the game, but was like, just play it so I can talk about it. But I get the impression that it does lots of really subtle but clever things to the genre. And I'm
That's
pleased
good.
because loads of people were like,
Didn't mean to
it's
shout
the
that.
best JRPG since Final Fantasy VII, and it might be.
There you go.
But yeah.
Big words from Matt Lees on the Japanese role-playing
Not
game.
really that big. It might be.
I was just trying to drum it up.
Put that on the poster.
Yeah. Might be good. Find out. Spend £40.
Question mark out of
Yeah,
10.
exactly.
Has
Yeah.
anyone else been playing anything new?
I played Tomb Raider Definitive Edition, but let's not spend too long on that. It's the same game, but it looks prettier. There you go. We can move on. Thanks, guys.
Man.
It's all right. I mean, Tomb Raider's a good game. It's really, really fun, but it's like... it's fun in that way games have always been fun, which I know sounds ridiculous, but it does nothing new. There's nothing there that you haven't seen before, but it does it all very, very, very well. And this is Lara Croft looking...
Well, that's what I felt about The Last of Us.
Yeah, Last of Us is better.
Yeah,
A lot
that's
better.
that- I think that's-
Well, The
yeah.
Last of Us has emotional punch, which I think helps it a lot, whereas Tomb Raider's story is gubbins. I mean, it's actually crap.
Yeah, no, I
no
thought
one
that.
seems to mention this. Like, the dialogue is GCSE play level dialogue.
Yep.
It's like, it is just like, oh, Tammy, I love you, but I'll never tell you. You find these letters, you're like, fuck off. Like, it's absolute bollocks.
Yeah.
But
No, I agree.
It doesn't push the narrative too hard, so you don't have to really...
I really
pay
got
attention
annoyed
to it.
actually about all of the editorial around Tomb Raider when it first launched was just banging on and on and on about how they'd done such a great job on the character and story. And
Oh, no,
I
it's
played
fine.
it,
I mean-
and I was like, "This is fucking dick."
Lara Croft is well realised to a certain degree. I mean, I the way they kick the shit out of her, I actually think is quite good because it does. No, but it does. It gives you some kind of connection
Yeah.
to the character because you're like, fuck, you are really getting.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, you're going through a horrible time, which gives you a sense that it is a harrowing time for her as well. So she's okay done, but
I would have
as a
preferred it though if
supporting
in
cast,
between when you see her like in the cutscenes, she doesn't just look like pretty and bruised. She looks fucking deranged and feral.
well, that's
Because-
true. They could have gone further.
Because I
yeah.
think that the whole thing of her being this pretty kind of gap year student, which she clearly is portrayed as at the
Yeah.
start, with her dickhead Beats headphones and all that stuff.
Yeah.
If they'd made it more like she ends up going through hell and murdering people, but then ends up being like, is the fact they kept reverting to her going, come on, Lara, you can do this.
Yeah, that
and
is
it's like,
bollocks,
no,
yeah.
Come
she's
on,
going
yeah.
through hell. She's murdering people.
Also, yeah.
She should be losing her fucking mind.
Yeah.
Like that,
I
I mean,
agree.
her first kill of another human being is quite a big moment in the game. Like
Second one, not so much.
10 seconds later,
You kill 3 guys,
Yeah.
and it actually slows. It goes against a slow mo as well,
It-
and you shoot him in the head.
it
It's
does
like,
the-
headshot.
the Far Cry 3 thing there, doesn't it? Like,
Yeah.
oh man,
This island's changing you. What do you mean? I've just skinned a dog's bollocks to make a wallet.
when 400 people.
So when you first get the grenade launcher, that bit is well
That's
badass.
amazing.
The emotional
That bit,
grenade
that's
launcher.
probably the best bit in the game. Amazing. She suddenly becomes a different person.
Yeah, it's like, I'm Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
I was actually, I was thinking about Far Cry the other day. I hate Far Cry 3.
What?
I thought it was amazing for about 7 hours, and it's so fucking dull. It just falls into such a pattern where I'll do this, do that.
I like the killing animals, not in a sick way, but for me
The
that was
idea
the
of it
fun
was
bit of the
good,
game
yeah.
was being upgrading your stuff. But then I realised that I'd done all the upgrades.
Yeah.
And I hadn't
happens
done
pretty
any of the
quickly
story.
as well, doesn't it? Yeah, exactly. I have the same thing.
And that's when I stopped playing because I thought,
Same, dude. I think we did the same thing. We played the upgrade. How much ammo I can carry? I'll go skin a shark.
yeah.
And that was
after I'd like
that stuff was cool.
Yeah.
I thought it fell into such a routine. You don't think it's a scam? You seem to reacted quite bad.
No, I agree. I think it was quite overrated. A lot of places gave it 10 out of 10, which
Loads
I
of places
disagree
gave it
with.
10.
It's a solid 8 out of 10 for me. But I think it
we've
was...
got an award for that.
Yeah.
Solid eight out of 10. Yeah. No, I think it was a good game. I mean, I saw it through to completion. It was the story I had the biggest problem with, and the reason that, well, it just wasn't logical, was it? The whole reason is, we need to find a plane or something to escape off the island. Well, there's fucking helicopters everywhere that work, and there's a lot of that
as well. Like,
and I wish they'd done more with the sort of crazy stuff, like when you go on
there's
drugs
definitely
and
the
things
most
like that.
interesting
Like that was really quite
I
good.
think the point at which I thought, actually, royally, fuck this game, I'm not playing it, was the point at which you took pills and had a flashback to you in a nightclub where you were
didn't go
clinking
that far.
glasses of sambuca with your friends, while your friend said, or you said,
I did
someone
go
said,
that far,
to my father's black card. And I just thought, fuck this game. Fuck this game. It's like, how do they do it? How does mainstream AAA gaming keep making protagonists that are the most unlikable cunts in the world? Like, I mean,
Wasn't that kind of the point, though?
Yeah.
Well, they were just this kind of party mad
Then he
group
had
of
to
people
find his
that
way.
were actually a
But
little
then
bit.
that's
bloody-
the problem with
They
it.
don't
Is it's
stick
like
with that though, do they? They goes from that to him being, the action hero that's got emotions. Like I'm not sure I like that.
It's like, why am I supposed to care about
Yeah.
these people? Like, it wants you to go and save these people. It wants you to try and get this guy off the island, and they're just a bunch of fucking jebends.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, I don't want to save these people.
Can I spoil the end of Far Cry?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Everyone
you can.
just turned down for literally like 30 seconds.
30
If you
seconds.
This is your
All right.
warning.
Don't. Doesn't it end like if you have sex with the head of the tribe, you get killed or
You
something?
get a choice, don't you? You get a choice what to do. You either kill her or you kill your girlfriend, don't you?
Fuck me.
And
It's a choice. It's already kill her. Why'd you kill your girlfriend?
well, this is the whole logic thing. I don't understand it at all because the whole point of the game is you trying to save your girlfriend, and then at the end of the game, you're offered the choice to either save your girlfriend and go home,
Or murder the shit
or
out
stay
of her.
with this kind of mystical, magical woman
is that
and
the
have
option?
sex with her. And then while she's having sex with you, you ejaculate and make her pregnant, and then she stabs you in the heart. And it's like,
Fuck Far Cry 3. Fuck. What the fuck is that shit? That's fucking bollocks. That's video. Imagine it's like when you. It's like every time I try and fucking introduce people to professional wrestling. Oh, you'll love it. And then a fucking midget comes out dressed as a horse, and I'm like, oh, don't worry about it. Just leave it.
It's
with
not usually like this.
Exactly.
It does sound like the worst example of video games being bollocks. Of like, what can we do at the end? Player agency. We could have a bit of a wank fancy, couldn't we?
It's weird that-
Maybe we can have a bit at the end where they get to choose who they want to shag.
Yeah,
Does it seem relevant to the story?
What do players
we can work it out, yeah.
Choices, sex. Right, I've got it. We
well, the
nailed
guy
this.
who saves you at the beginning and he gives you the tattoo, you know the guy I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Nathan.
He then gets jealous of your relationship
Oh.
with this woman and he turns into a bad guy. And it's just all this stuff that's like, what the hell are you doing? I think that game, because when they first showed it off, it's like you were a photographer on the island and it was just you and your girlfriend being captured and you have to rescue her, and that was it. And then they suddenly turned it into this kind of...
It's Ubisoft. They can't help themselves. Oh, Assassin's Creed, like historical simulator. No, it's not bollocks.
I think the
sci-fi.
core game was quite good. The core gameplay and how it kind of incorporated all the Assassin's Creed elements.
I
and
just
things
wish
like
they
that,
hadn't
but-
done all that, because to be honest, I would have preferred it if it just kept it vague as being, you're just a guy, you're on holiday with your friends.
And they're gone.
And actually, as a premise, it's a simple one that people can relate to. Imagine being on a holiday.
Sort of
It's basically
slasher
like,
horror type.
it's basically like imagine the beach. Imagine the film The Beach, but it's sort of a game with more guns in it. When they start doing the flashbacks to try and paint the characters and make you care about them, I don't know what frat boy fuckwits they market research that game with that said, yeah, I like the characters, but like, my God, unlikable.
And I didn't like the fact they made such a thing out of Vars in the pre-release stuff, and then he was barely in it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
thought that was going to be the whole point.
Well, that's it.
of
The best bits of the game were the bits where
We're-
Vars was talking to you.
I thought you were going to
we're-
turn out to be
and we're in the
Vars.
trailers. Like a lot.
Ah,
a
do a
lot of
Fight
those
Club.
parts.
Yeah,
That
That's
would've
what
been
I
good,
thought for a long
actually.
time.
that would have been really good, actually, if the idea that
No, because they had the bit where you have death sex. That's a much better idea.
But now that we're
So-
spoiling it, you kill him about a third of the way
I was going
through.
to say he dies quite quickly.
does he?
doesn't
I didn't even get
We
that far.
threw Far Cry 3. But who cares? Crap, don't play it.
To be honest, you wouldn't play it for the story, and you wouldn't play Tomb Raider for the story either. It's not.
So, like,
fucking
Tomb Raider,
good.
I mean, the best thing about Tomb Raider is like the games I remember playing as a kid. But it obviously looks all pretty and nice because it's next gen now as well. But it does all, it's really well paced and the platform is really good and there's a constant sense of you want to continue because you want to see what's next.
It
will
plays its
continue-
hand so way too early with a bad guy in Tomb Raider.
Yes, yeah, it does, yeah.
It kind of for a split second you're like, is this guy a bad guy or not?
yeah,
and then
yeah.
immediately he's like,
Yes.
yeah, he's a fucking super bad guy.
Yeah.
It
Like-
plays well though, doesn't it? I mean, like, I'm not.
That's
I'm not
it.
over keen.
Yeah,
on
it's
the story,
fun.
but it's fun to play.
It's just really, really solid game. It's
just-
one of those games everyone should just play and then you won't love it to sort of, it's not the greatest thing you're ever going to play, but you just think, man, it's really fun.
I think it's one of my
Really fun.
favourites of last year.
It was one of my favourites
Probably my
last
top
year,
five of last year.
I agree. I think it's a really good game. A really good game.
I need to go
It
back
is.
and play it some more, to be honest. I did enjoy it. I just found the way it told the story incredibly tedious. And I thought the way it was
story's bollocks. Yeah.
it was trying to pretend that it was doing narrative in an interesting way by just being like, oh, you found another cutscene on a tape on the beach. It's like, oh, come on.
That was bollocks. And every time she fucking found like a skull in the thing, she went, oh. It's like, fuck off. What are you doing? Get on with it. But it's good. It's good though. Like it's good.
It
It's
is
a good
good.
game.
It is
yeah.
good. It's not. I mean, it's not like Far Cry 3 was just a bit. I don't know.
I didn't like Far Cry 3. I don't know how we got there, but I just did not like it.
I don't know how it got.
I did, But then it just like, it's really... I'll tell you a story about Far Cry 3, actually. You know the bit where you're burning the weed fields?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you know it goes all squiffy. I thought my TV was broken. I texted my brother and said, something wrong with my TV? I was just having Far Cry 3. No, it's just you're just drugged up. And I was like, okay, there we go. I don't know much about this. Goodbye.
I wish that they'd make, and this is something that I think I'd like to see in the future, is not HD remakes of games. Because that HD remake of Fable Anniversary, I've seen it running. That is fucking ugly.
Honestly, man,
it's like they've taken any semblance of art design and art style that was in that game originally. And the original Fable is a beautiful game. It looks dated, obviously, but with what they did with the tools at the time, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
The new version is ugly as sin.
It's lost its character, I think, hasn't it? Just the art style just seems
it's horrid.
so bland.
It looks like a rip-off. Now, it looks like one of those things made by... What's that company that makes the iOS games that are just complete rip-offs?
Gameloft.
It looks like a Gameloft. It looks
Gameloft are amazing.
No,
they are, because Gameloft, we're just going to break all the rules through this loophole. It's brilliant. Modern Combat 9. Yeah, fuck it, we make that game. Amazing.
But I'd like to see in the future them not just making HD versions, but actually in the same way that we get director's cuts. And actually, I think particularly apt would be in the way that you had Apocalypse Now Redux. I'd love Far Cry 2 Redux.
Yeah.
I'd love to see them a remade kind of Far Cry 2, basically maybe jazzed up in a better engine with some better graphics. Just fix all of the stuff that made it a trudge.
This is what what we said in our video on Fable, pretty much. One, I think the example we used was, with The Witcher 3 is in development at the moment, and the guy who's been working on the combat released that official mod to fix the combat in The Witcher 2. I'd love to see that in some of these HD remakes in some aspects. Fix some of the problems as well whilst you're there. You may as well.
Well, I just think it's a shame because it's like the mechanics of how Far Cry 3 works in terms of taking out the outposts and stuff, moving around, killing the animals. Brilliant. But then the actual story and the reason for you playing and the interest in that, bollocks. However, Far Cry 2, sadly, the complete opposite. It became such a frustrating trudge getting diamonds for weapons and having to clear out the outposts
malaria
again and again and malaria pills. But then the actual story and the ideas and themes in it, brilliant.
Honestly,
genuinely brilliant.
Far Cry 2, I hated it because it's too much, but I also loved it at the same time because I loved it as ambition. I just thought it was real. I mean, it was just this is freaking...
What a gameplay mechanic to introduce.
What?
So what if the player gets malaria?
It's brilliant.
I like that.
I
do as well.
Your gun jammed and shit like that. It was just this is really, really good, but unfortunately it wasn't executed.
No.
It was just dull. It was just, it's such a trudge.
I thought the saddest thing about Far Cry 2 is the fact that you didn't even really know what the game was about until you played it for about 9 hours. It was one of those games that was horribly afflicted by something which is eased off now, but there was that period where all games coming out were 30, 40 hours because focus groups somewhere had told people that games need to be long for value.
More games,
I get there was a time when I used to think that. At the time years ago now, when I thought, but now, honestly, 6 hours. 6 hours is my sweet spot.
I think that depends on the genre, doesn't it?
I like a game that finishes in 6 hours.
If it's narrative, I think 6 to 10 hours is the sweet spot.
But I just want to play narrative games now, and that makes me a bad person.
Well,
but that's what I want.
I do because I've got Dota 2, and if I want something that's just going to be mechanical, I just play that.
That's such a good point. That's true though, because that's where my Nintendo love comes from. Nintendo's when I play a game, quote unquote, like Mario, Zelda. That's my games. Whereas everything else is just like Last of Us or Mass Effect and stuff like that.
I like little experiences I can finish. Because I think a lot of people like that the same way they'll play Call of Duty, and that's their game.
Yeah,
some people play League of Legends, Dota. You have your game. You want a nibble of something else.
And that's why this year's sort of a bit video game wise. I don't know where that's coming from at the moment.
So far, it's hugely disappointing.
Yeah,
I found myself.
Coming from.
I got quite excited about Shadows of Mordor.
Yeah,
but then it's it is as much fun as it's going to be. I reckon it is just Assassin's Creed in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, which is fine. But I'd much rather it was a Lord of the Rings story based thing. I don't think it's going to be that.
No,
I think that's a shame.
No, it definitely won't. I mean, it's a ranger crossed with a wraith living outside Mordor.
What's bringing that this year? I don't think. The Last of Us DLC, probably.
The Witcher 3?
Depressing.
Witcher 3. If it
I
does
think The Witcher
come out
3.
this week,
you know what?
this year.
I really think that The Witcher 3 might do really well, just because I think The Witcher 2 did all right, but a lot of people are still put off by the complexity. I think if they make a really solid...
They're pushing it hard on console this time.
I think they're pushing it hard.
I think it could make the series for them, in terms of making it
as well,
mainstream.
because it's a new story.
It has buzz as
open world,
yeah.
And I honestly think that people are going to be... This whole period of waiting for good games to come out next gen, I think is going to be a lot longer than people want. Because
massively. I don't think we're going to get much till E3. And that's announcements. So it's not coming out at the end of the year. It's coming out of next year.
Yeah.
So yeah, you got a long... I mean, Watch Dogs will come out, which will... I'm not massively fussed about Watch Dogs, but I get that it is a next-gen...
I think Watch Dogs is going to be really disappointing.
I agree with you, but it's something that people are excited about.
It's a victim of its own hype, I feel. I think it'll sell really well, but I think it'll critically...
It's been around too long.
They have, at least, they have slowed that down, thankfully. We haven't seen any more...
Oh, they'll build that up again. Ubisoft. Every couple of weeks.
Every weekly email. Hey, the new trailer about the guy's leg. Oh, man, sweet.
Sweet leg, man. when you were releasing a trailer for the other leg.
Next week. That's what the email will say as well. Next week, Aiden's other leg. Oh, fuck.
It's true.
Yeah, they do love that.
I love it.
Although South Park is coming out this year.
Yeah, and that'll be
fun.
good.
Well, it's supposed to come out this year.
But I mean, I think we're talking about like real system sellers here. You know, for me,
exactly,
like
that's what I want.
something really beefy and in the way that Skyrim gets people excited of being like, hey, here's a fucking massive world to explore.
I mean,
get on it.
Bethesda fucking... Oh, they're probably listening to this. I don't care. At least in Wolfenstein. Now, Wolfenstein... Here's the thing, Wolfenstein could turn out to be really good. I don't know. I played it for like an hour, so I can't judge it. But my worry is they're saying single-player story. That's what we're pushing. Nah, I'm not 100% convinced that's going to be,
Wolfenstein's never been a game about story.
That's the thing. So it's been... Are they called Huge Big Fish Dildo or something? They're not called
Huge Big Fish Dildo. Is that the official name of the
Great
developer?
dev.
They did... I just really shouldn't start talking things I have no education whatsoever. But, they've always pushed story and stuff. But I just don't think you can do it in Wolfenstein. I don't think that's what people are really after. They just want to shoot things in the face.
It's just bigger weapons and gore, isn't it? That's all you want.
So that's Bethesda. I mean, they got the Elder Scrolls Online.
I really wish that Activision handled Raven better and just...
What are they doing now? They did.
I don't know.
They're doing Call of Duty now, aren't they?
I think they're basically doing Call of Duty maps or something, or Call of Duty games. I don't know. To be honest, like Activision purposefully obfuscate that whole process.
Yeah.
It fascinates me because I just think, how does that work? Because they have like 6 studios working on it, and no one will ever tell you who's doing what.
Yeah.
Because they want to keep that really vague.
We've got to have Sledgehammer's game soon because Glenn Schofield is heading up that project, and I'm saying this in a positive way. He's not going to want to.
I like
take on. Yeah, I do, but he's not going to want to take on anyone else's work. He'll want to make his own thing. So they must have a Sledgehammer Games Call of Duty.
It really feels like consoles need something new in the way that, like,
definitely, man.
like third-person platformers were massive 10 years ago, and then they just disappeared forever.
And shooters took over, didn't they?
Shooters took over, basically.
That's dead now. Well, no, they're
not dead, but
the creativity's gone.
It's
Titanfall could spike it up
Titanfall could spike it up again, and I think it will.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's the thing is, in terms of new IPs, we've got Titanfall. A lot of new IPs have been fairly lackluster, or just kind of a bit trite. I mean, Titanfall, I think, is going to be, in terms of the execution, I reckon it will be really innovative.
Yep.
But in terms of the ideas, it's not.
No,
I mean,
I agree.
Robot, jumpy men.
Yeah, it's not Call of Duty 4. No way.
It doesn't really. It's not a game changer.
Yep.
It's just something that's going to be like
really good,
really fucking good.
No, I agree.
I don't know. I really want that to be. And the thing is, I kind of got excited about Shadows of Mordor, but then about a day later, I was like, well, yeah, but actually, it's the most ridiculously by the numbers safe idea.
Exactly. It will be a video game.
And I love the fact that they were like, does it look like Assassin's Creed? That's purely coincidence.
Yeah.
Wow, you know what? You know why?
What's Assassin's Creed? I have not heard of this game.
As if they didn't sit in a meeting and somebody just literally PowerPoint went
Assassin's Creed
in Lord of the Rings, and somebody just went, here's a plate full of money.
Assassin's Creed manages to sell 12 million every year.
As if, I mean, like, it's just like, fuck off. I hate it when they just insult our intelligence to that level.
Yeah. Although, just to be completely hypocritical, obviously the new Batman game's going to come out this year, and that's fine.
Is it?
Yeah. Well, I'm confident that it is, based on nothing. Wink. But yeah, that's fine with me.
I want some new experiences.
I agree with you, but I take Batman in anything.
Yeah.
I take Batman strip poker.
I just think
that's weird.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Because MOBAs are obviously, like League of Legends is just, we were talking about this earlier, it's like almost 70 million players a month now. And even like Dota 2 is obviously a fragment of that with 7 million.
No one gives a shit, do they? I mean, they obviously do give a shit, but I mean, like, no one talks about it.
Well, this is the thing, is it's almost like a lot of the market from shooters has moved to the PC.
And a lot of the market from MMOs as well, I think.
Yeah. But I think, like MMO markets were never that big, so I think that it's a lot of... I think it's in the same way that kids growing up, like 5-10 years ago, were all playing shooters. Now they're all playing League of Legends.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
But I kind of feel like, obviously, that doesn't work on consoles for various reasons. But I'd really...
Awesome Nuts.
Well, yeah, I love Awesome Nuts, but it hasn't really taken off, and I just sort of feel like the console needs something else.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it totally does. I mean, the Xbox One and PS4 both feel very extensions of the last machine because they haven't done anything to, isolate themselves. But it will come. It's just at the moment everyone's being very quiet. I mean, January
and the Wii U's got the same problem as well. Like we need new IPs on that as well.
Yeah, we just need new things. It's all right. We'll get there.
We'll get there.
Slowly but
Actually,
surely.
finally on the PC, I have also been playing a game called Consortium, but I won't talk about that now because we're going to jump straight into questions. But I've reviewed that, and the review should be probably going up this afternoon. And I've made a video as well. Well, I haven't made a video yet. I'm going to make a video after this, probably. So yeah, it's interesting actually. If you're into PC games, it's basically a bit like a kind of very lo-fi Mass Effect sort of thing. It's got some fascinating ideas. Doesn't quite pull it off, but it's a very interesting game. And if you're just interested in that kind of genre, then I definitely come and have a look and check it out because you might be interested. Anyway, questions.
Question time? Okay then. We've got a question from Peter Blom who asks, is it Wednesday already? Well, that would very much depend on when you listen to this.
I wish it was Thursday.
It is now.
Oh, David,
I got
come
Friday
on.
off.
What?
So it was Thursday.
You got Friday off?
I told you that in the Monday meeting. Come on, Dave.
Oh,
Notes.
man.
It's a 4-day week for me.
I thought you were off on Monday as well.
No, I'm here Monday.
I thought you were out.
I'm at UFC in the morning, yeah. But
Well, now we know Simon's schedule. That's fantastic. Brilliant. Glad we confirmed that. Here's a question for Simon, actually, from British Wolf, who asks,
yo, British Wolf.
which is Simon's favourite GIF from the official Simon Miller's GIFs thread? And if you'd like to find that, that's on the forums, and it's got a collection of
They're very good.
GIFs, GIFs, whatever you want to call them.
I was browsing through them just last night.
My favourite is the wiggly one before I go into the studio.
Yeah, that's my
The
favourite.
wiggly,
too.
yeah,
It's secretly the one I hate the most.
You got
but,
that is
a
the
good
best
wiggle
one.
there,
Yeah, it's
I
the
will
best
say.
one. I
It's
know.
top wiggle.
Cyber Eagle 1X asks, with the Ratchet and Clank movie and now the Sly Cooper movie coming out, what video game movies would you like to see in the future?
Gears of War.
Would you actually?
Yeah, with wrestlers. That's all
You've just combined the two things you love in this world.
You
That's
are
it.
a parody of yourself.
Oh, I know. I'm
You
a
actually
caricature
are.
of myself. I'm well aware of this. I've accepted it years
Gears
ago.
of
It's
War
amazing.
with wrestlers.
Yeah, we're really good. Have you seen the guy called Batista? It looks just like Dom. He'd fit right in there. It'd be amazing.
Well, what do you want from this movie? Is this-
Statham could be Marcus Phoenix. That would work.
No, he
Needs
could
to get a bit
not.
bigger,
No, he
but-
could not.
Of course he can. Shaved head,
Statham is
was-
more. He's tiny in comparison.
He's ripped.
No.
Just needs
Nope.
to get a bit bigger.
Vetoed.
I did say what I'd like to see, and this would be a series rather than a film.
All right.
It would be, I'd love it if they did like animated by DreamWorks or Pixar or whatever, did a Beyond Good and Evil animated series.
Yeah, that
That
could
would be
work.
good,
Because I love the
Netflix.
story, I love the characters, and I'd like to see how that story unfolded.
I would like to see what happened to Paige. Spoilers.
Yeah, I know.
won't say
Well,
anything
even
else, but-
see what happened with the whole. Yeah. Oh, it was
Honestly,
a hell of a
fuck it.
cliffhanger.
Unbelievable that game never got a sequel. Apparently,
Very
still
sad.
never getting one. Who
I
knows
know.
what to
I
believe
think
it.
it's almost like I don't like the fact that there's something sad at the moment about the fact that when people feel like they have to reboot franchises or carry on sequels, modern day, they need to just have like modern day graphics. And when they showed those teasers of it looking like, whoa, it's so good, I'd almost be happier if they did a thing where they just went almost by the numbers. Okay, well, let's get a small number of the original team together to make something that's graphically equivalent, like maybe a bit sharp around the
That was
edges.
the frame rate word. Yeah, I'd like that.
But
yeah.
something where it doesn't look amazing,
Yeah.
but it's got a nice art style,
Yeah.
and it's kind of lo-fi and uses similar systems, just so they can finish it off with a skeleton team, rather than being like, we need to invest
And
10
make
million
this overblown thing. Yeah,
and
No, I
then
think
we
you
need
got
to
a
get it
point.
back.
Yeah.
I wish that big publishers, because it seems like those games like the Banner Saga is, obviously those guys made Mass Effect, and it's like, but they then didn't try and recreate Mass Effect style aesthetics when they made their game. It seems like it's a shame that it takes studios, people to have to leave studios and make smaller things to embrace kind of lo-fi visuals.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Whereas if publishers did it, then why not?
Let's face it, Beyond Good and Evil 2 is not going to sell.
No,
So just
it would
make
sell like
small, yeah.
to a niche number of people.
Yeah, yeah,
so why
us.
not just be like, well, we're not going to sell more than like 50,000 copies,
Yeah.
but then make it with that budget in mind.
Yeah, I agree.
I
And
think
I'd be down with that.
Yeah, me too.
I think you might make fun of me, but I'm kind of intrigued about the Warcraft movie. I've heard about it for so long, and I
What a
I like.
Warcraft.
There we are. There we
I
are.
want to play Warcraft tonight.
That was
know what that is.
extremely mature of you, David. Extremely mature.
Want to join my guild?
Have you ever? You've never played the game, have you? I don't know. I kind of like that. I kind of like the lore surrounding the universe.
It's never going to happen, Brad. They're never
It
going
is.
to. They will never ever get to the end. There's always problems with that thing. Directors drop out, actors drop
Are
out.
they filming it now? I thought they started
Yeah.
filming it.
Yeah, it won't come out.
I think it will happen.
Really?
It's the guy who's doing it is like, he's good. He's the guy who did Moon and Source
I
Code.
like Moon.
He's
That's good.
David Bowie's son.
Now who's doing stupid voices?
He's good. I like him. He sometimes he when we made that stupid XCOM videos, he retweeted them.
Did he?
Oh,
there you go.
That's my.
that's how you and our praise on this podcast.
No, I don't know. There are certain people that I obviously really respect, and it's always nice when like you see somebody who you really respect, and they're like
Connection.
out of the blue, they're like,
I
oh, I
agree.
like this.
Yeah.
But he's wicked, and he's a big gamer, big fan. So hopefully,
well, I'll take it back. I hope
Yeah.
you do make it. Good luck.
I like the Warcraft story. Fuck you guys. Moving on, we've got from Killtube Cameron, who asks,
I've got to say he's right about Warcraft. Warcraft 3 has an amazing
Yeah.
storyline. It's fucking.
well, Warcraft's kind of overdone it because it needed to just make stuff up for
it's kind of
expansions.
spoiled things, but
up to Wrath of the Lich King, it's good. We've got, do you think the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One should have been delayed till there were some better games for both systems?
No.
No, because they sold
wanted
like
the
millions.
Christmas-
They got all their money now,
Christmas
don't
launch,
they? So-
didn't they? Yeah.
I think it was probably the worst launch in a while, but who
Do
cares?
you?
Yeah.
Why?
It's just boring, wasn't it?
Dave, you're the only one in this room that is consistently playing
Next
Xbox
gen.
One, next gen games at the moment.
Yeah, well, I was going to talk briefly about that earlier. Dead Rising I finished earlier, and I wish Stephen W. Burns was in this room because I would shout at him.
I
But-
really don't like that game.
Yeah, I agree. I think you got well.
Simon and I got
I
up to
like
the
it.
part
On
where
paper,
you
that-
fight the sexualized police lady, and we were already kind of fed up with fighting.
Yeah.
On paper, that game is everything that Steve would hate, and I don't understand why he likes it so much, but fair enough, whatever.
First couple of hours, really good fun. After that,
Yeah.
I
totally agree.
Anyway, we're getting off topic. Next gen, no, I don't think it should be delayed.
It was-
I think I had a good enough
from a
launch, to
commercial
be
point of
honest.
view, it was the
The first party stuff was a bit weak
of
across the board, I
course
think,
we'd
but
like to see better games on both consoles at the moment, but no, it was the right time for them to launch it just because they want the Christmas buzz, don't they? That's how it works.
So yeah, I don't mind.
I think I'd be looking forward to it more when we have it, and it will happen soon when it gets to the stage. Because at the moment, everyone's like, "Oh my god, this quaint little game on PlayStation 4! What a lovely console!" And it's all like these games that came out last year on the PC. And it's like I don't want to sound like, we played them first, but when it gets to the stage where they're actually synced, where it's like when a game comes out on Steam, it comes out on the PlayStation 4 at the same day, then I still love the appeal of being able to just sit back on a couch with a controller and just
Chill out.
But at the moment, it's all like, because I have been quite hot on the Steam stuff, it's all like, they're all games I've
Done
played.
it. Octodad comes out tomorrow.
It does indeed.
the only
Wait, on PC first, once again.
That's what I
It's
mean,
not coming
yeah,
out on
that's my
PlayStation
point,
4 until...
And it will happen,
Later
but
on, yeah.
we're a way off it, unfortunately.
the only thing I would say about the whole delay is not delay it for better games, but I think Microsoft have maybe dropped the ball a little bit with what you hear about their toolkits and stuff. Maybe they should have been a little bit better prepared. Because, I mean, you've got games like Tomb Raider coming out now that is just not performing very well on Xbox One.
It's consistently, I mean, this whole...
March, I tell you, as soon as Titanfall launches,
Well, that's the thing.
I'm going to
Like,
push a button and the Xbox One's going to become a real machine.
and I don't think
That's
it's
it.
too late to fix. I just think that some of the damage that's been done in a lot of people's minds will stay.
In terms of like games you can get on both next gen consoles, has the Xbox One won any of those battles? Like, is there a game?
What,
say-
multi-platform
Yeah.
stuff? No.
And this is the thing, I think you said it best the other day, Dave, when it's like, there have been a lot of op-eds recently being like, 60 frames a second doesn't matter, what's the big deal, I don't mind 30 seconds, and lots of people have, like, lots of gamers have been getting really angry about that. And usually I'd be the sort of person to do that and play devil's advocate and go, it doesn't really matter that much. And actually, sometimes I think that's kind of true. I don't think 30 frames a second makes games bad. And I really liked DMC, the Devil May Cry reboot.
Yeah.
That was only 30 frames a second. It wasn't as fast as some other combat systems, but I thought the combat system was interesting. I had a great time with it. I didn't think it's a bad game because of it. But people like shrugging it off saying it doesn't matter right now.
It's like Microsoft came out and said, "Oh, this is a little thing that doesn't matter. It's been
It matters
overblown."
if you-
I think you
it
said,
does matter.
Well, I think you said it's just like, it's not a big deal that
yeah.
the PlayStation 4 can render twice as fast.
Yeah.
That's the thing. If you drop 450 quid on a machine and then it says, that one that's
If
100 quid
Microsoft
left,
considers
it's
that
better.
as a-
It's like, well,
Yeah.
it's that,
If
that would
Microsoft
annoy
just
you.
brushes it off his shoulders like, "Oh, that's a minor thing." Well, no, you're looking at it completely wrong.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
amazing. And that's the thing is, I don't care about it on the specific game level.
But some people do. That's
If a
the thing,
developer
yeah.
has made a game to run at 30 frames a second and they
Yeah,
basically
exactly, yeah.
accounted for that, and I felt like even though DMC did eventually come out 60 frames a second on PC and it was better like that, if it's a restriction you can't get around it and you're building the game with that in mind, it's fine. But when you've got a game that's coming out 60 frames a second on PC and it's only 30 frames a second on console, that is a big problem.
Yeah.
It's like a massive compromise.
Nah, the cloud, mate.
But that's been-
the cloud.
that's-
We get
That's been the norm for years. That's been accepted in the last gen. Whereas this gen, when you've got differences between each console, major differences, that's another issue that, Microsoft's never going to win. I don't know why they come out trying to defend it. Just accept it. Don't talk about it. Fix it for the future.
Yeah, saying it's not a problem
Don't
is-
say
it's not
because
true.
that makes it worse. So
It's true.
And it's just the problem is, as we know, it may well be that optimization means that in a year, all this stuff is just looked back as teething issues
Yeah.
with the Xbox One. It probably will.
I tell you, March,
But it doesn't.
push a button.
It doesn't. I don't know. That will change problems with the whole UI being fucking wacky.
But I think that's what they'll change. I think they'll sort the
But no,
UI
but
out
it doesn't.
and stuff.
It doesn't change the fact that the way that the hardware is.
Oh, I see.
utilised
Right. Yeah.
In terms of the power they're able to get
Yeah.
out of it, it seems like it's clearly harder to work with.
The whole app switching thing has screwed the memory load and things like that. And I don't actually think that many people will...
No.
They'll probably look at their metrics and see not many people are switching between that many apps all that often.
It all goes back to what we said originally. They're trying to sell their vision of what they want an entertainment device to be because it suits them. They want to own entertainment.
Yeah.
And the problem is most people dropping money on this thing want a games console.
Even the way that they make publishers refer to it in their press releases. Xbox One, the all-in-one home and entertainment system, or something like that from Microsoft. And it's like, it's a video games console. Get over yourself.
Yeah.
But convergence happens naturally, I think. You know, smartphones, if somebody tried to release a phone years ago that was like, oh, it's an MP3 player, it's got a camera. If somebody tried to like add everything that we've got in phones now to a phone like 5 years ago, 10 years ago probably, it would have flopped, because it's almost like if you try and force things, it doesn't work like that.
Also, it would have been the size of a house.
Yeah, it would have been. But no, it's just it's like my phone now does my music, it does all sorts of stuff, but that's something that's happened really gradually.
It's naturally, yeah. You just
and
accept
also,
it now.
I've had control over that. I think what I don't like most about this whole next-gen entertainment solution thing is just the fact that it's like, hey, we give you everything you want in an enclosed way under our terms. So it's simple stuff like the fact, you can stream stuff off your PC with an Xbox One, but you can't plug in a hard drive full of videos.
Well, I admire the fact they want to try and move it on and move that stuff all together.
sure.
But when it sacrifices some of the most important stuff to a lot of gamers, then it's a big problem. But yeah, we can talk about this for hours.
But I guess that's
and
the
we're
problem.
going to. Welcome to the live Video Game Podcast.
Let's do a special 60 frames, 30 frames podcast. Talk about it in detail. Yeah.
Shoot, sorry.
But no, it is an issue, and people have shrugged it off as if to go,
Yeah, they shouldn't overlook it. They need to sort it out rather than play it down, because it's only going to damage them in the long run.
It's true.
I guess we'll go for a last question from Brett Claxton, just because I just...
Claxton, mate.
I really
Brett
like...
Claxton.
I really like saying his name.
Brett Claxton.
He has an amazing name.
And we say... I think we've answered like 3 or 4 of his questions.
I think I've said that name
because he has
before.
a great name.
I'm sorry if I've forgotten
This
you, Brett
better be
Claxton, but I
an
never will
amazing
again.
question now. You got to build up, Brett.
Okay, so your conversation about reviewing games last episode made me wonder, what games do team members love and others hate, and would you consider including perhaps a second opinion review on certain games?
We would, but there's not enough
Different
time,
attempts.
unfortunately. Otherwise, we would.
I mean,
people don't have enough time.
I like
play
to
the same
think
game.
that we do that in our video content in some respect, because
Yeah,
often,
there's always
like particularly you and I, Sam, when we do like the something for the weekend videos,
Ugh.
I introduce you to games that you don't always like, and
It's a
I
nice
do.
way of putting it.
No, that's true.
Yeah, I think so.
That's true. I think the thing is, if we had a team of like 30, we would definitely do.
Yeah.
We would definitely do. But we don't. Like everyone is very, very busy. Everyone has specific jobs they have to do. So there's no way to say, can you come play this 12-hour game to make sure that I'm right?
Yeah.
Like it just doesn't work. So we would do it. And I think there's plenty of games that we all disagree on and stuff. But that's without
Stupid bloody Ethan Cheese Hunt or whatever his name was that you were all getting well excited about, Bratters. You sat me down like, why don't you like it, Dave? Because it's about fucking little mouse who
We never even
chases cheese.
Dave, are
Okay.
you taking drugs?
What Dave is referring to is a game called Ethan Meteor Hunter, which we
It's like
decided,
Ethan Hunt's the guy from
Which-
Mission Impossible. He's not a mouse.
which I decided we weren't putting the video up because the game was very good. Like it was one of those.
You loved
like,
it, Bratters.
Well, I think sometimes with smaller games that haven't that you may not have heard of, I often think it's better for us to cover the games that we really like rather
I
than saying
totally
here's a
agree.
game you haven't seen,
But yeah,
and
it's
this is why we fucking hate it. Like,
Just
I'm not sure that always
as
works.
we're here, my biggest
So,
problem.
Screw you once again,
Oh,
Dave.
it's only a joke, Brass. Calm down.
I know, I just like saying that.
The biggest problem with the video game industry is that you're not allowed to have a different opinion. I mean, you're genuinely not. If you give a game a lower score than what they say a respected established outlet does, you get called out. Like you don't know what you're talking about, or you're corrupt, or something ridiculous.
Or if you like something, then
Or
you're correct.
other way around. It's the biggest problem with video games. I know it happens in all media. I'm sure it happens with films and books and music and stuff.
Yeah,
but
it's
it's just ridiculous. But one, to get to the point where, Matt, you can like game A, and I say, oh, no, I don't like it, Matt. And it becomes an intellectual conversation rather than, oh, you fucking idiot.
Which is what I
It's
just
something
did
that
today.
I genuinely think, yeah, you did. But then you were talking about mouses and Ethan Hunt, so I don't know what was going on there. And it's just, that's my biggest problem. It genuinely is my biggest problem with the game
It's
industry.
weird because, like with music reviews, it'll be a given that a new album will come out and somebody will be like 2.5 stars. Yeah, it's pretty average.
Yeah, and
somebody
someone
5
gives it
stars
5,
saying
yeah,
this is fucking
yeah.
amazing,
And
someone gives it 1 saying this is trash.
I'm not talking about I mean this disrespectfully, but the commenters or anything like that. That's always going to happen because people are aggressive in comments, and that sparks the bad side of people. It happens in the industry, like talking to people. How could you give that game that score? Because I didn't like it. Because my hands are different from your hands. My brain is different from your brain. It interacted with this in a different way, and people don't accept that, and that's a shame.
I think reviews particularly are just
Oh yeah, totally agree.
It's just that it's such a weird system now that everyone feels like there's always a fear of even going near 5 is just like it feels like such an intense decision to make to give a game a 5 out of 10.
I know.
Jesus,
But that should be average.
and it's
That
like
should be average.
below 5 is a comedy score.
Yeah.
It's something where it's clearly so bad and broken that it's just like who gives a shit. At which point it's an irrelevant review anyway because no one's going to read it because nobody cares about that game in the first place. But then it's just kind of broken. But then also the whole problem is that the only reason that it's weighted towards the top end is just because there is this just subtle pressure constantly because everybody knows that they matter so much to publishers, and everyone knows that a really low review score can damage publishers and developers so much. Like with fucking New Vegas guys missing their bonus.
That's the crazy one, isn't it?
For essentially a game
I don't
full
know
of
if I'd
bugs.
ever approach
and,
a review like that, though.
Well, no, you don't. But obviously, it's always in your mind, whether or not you're consciously thinking about it. You're aware that review scores have an impact on
You
things.
are, but I wouldn't actively give a game a higher score than I believed it was
Well,
worth.
no,
because
I'm
of
not
that,
saying you
obviously.
would,
No, I know, but
It's the more to do with implicit choice. I mean, I've been reading a lot of psychology again recently for reasons I'm not sure about because I studied psychology at university and I'm thinking a lot about kind of implicit and explicit thoughts and actions, and it's just there's a whole merge of stuff. But I think, as you say, it's not just that. It's the fact that it's just like a lot of people. I think it's that combined with the fact that also if you give something a really low score and everyone else gives it a really high score, you are guaranteed to get a lot of shit for it.
You'll be called wrong for it.
I still do it, but it's like you shouldn't feel those pressures. That's what I guess what we're getting to.
I think it can be disheartening to see people react to a review that's different to their own opinion and think it lessens the game in some respect because you liked it and they didn't. Like I find that argument really
I think
frustrating.
the biggest one was probably Uncharted 3, 8 out of 10. Do we name names when it comes to things like that? Well, there was another website that gave Uncharted 3 out of 10 and it kicked off a big
Oh
controversy.
yeah, it was insane. It was like,
And,
why is it only as if 8 out of 10 was the worst thing in the world.
I think that's maybe a fair score for that game.
No, it's, yeah, it was,
I'd
no,
say it's a point or two too high.
hot zings. No, I think but that was also before the game had even come out. But that's what I mean is I'm not saying that I let these things influence me. But at the same time, when you're choosing what score out of 10 to give to a video game based on how good it is, you shouldn't have to feel worried.
No, you're right. Yeah,
all
I know what you mean.
about backlash.
Yeah, exactly.
You do.
And you do. There's been times in the past, and I haven't changed my score. I've just prepared myself for it.
You have to.
Where I put the score on it, and as I've done it, I'll say to someone, "Right, here we go."
Yeah,
it was ridiculous. That's my opinion. A, it's my opinion. B, in the grand scheme of things, my opinion is irrelevant, really. I mean, sorry, my microwave was not in front of me. My microphone was not in front of me. You shouldn't feel like that, but unfortunately, that's where we find ourselves.
And I remember having conversations with my old editor of OXM when I'd like put a review score on something, and it would be like we were preparing to go on a suicide mission or something. Sometimes I'd send it over to him, and he'd read it, and he'd say, "Are you sure about the score?"
Yeah.
And I'd say, "Yeah, I'm sure about the score."
And you do it,
and he'd just go
with it. Yeah,
okay.
And
then we're both there sitting there going, this is going to be hell. And it's either going to be hell because you know that fans are going to fucking castrate you and say that you're bent and corrupt and evil, or you know that the publisher's going to be calling up and saying, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And being angry.
And that is where the whole nonsense about your integrity comes in. Because if you change your score because of that, then you do have to look at yourself in the mirror and say, what have you done? But I don't know anyone that does that. No. I know everyone I know always goes forward with the score. But it's not, you don't do it because of the way you do it from experience. That's why you're at like that, because it's happened before.
But that's what sucks most about this job. That's what sucks most about this job is the fact you don't get paid very well to do it because so many people want to do it because reviewing games is a dream job. Yeah. But then when you do it, you get hated for it. And it's very rare that you actually get people saying, I love your reviews, I love what you do. And you do get someone every now and then saying, really love what you do. But the sheer quantity of vitriol and accusations you get from every angle,
it's ridiculous.
Both the industry and fans, for simply doing what you are like being paid not a lot of money to do.
That's the thing. I genuinely, and I'm not saying this, I genuinely don't know anybody that doesn't, go with their guts and their instincts and what they believe. No. I don't. And I know quite a lot of people in the industry, and I know no one that's ever done that. And yet everyone has this, oh no. I mean, it's ridiculous.
And I don't want to, it's obviously it's one of these things where it's like, oh, small violin, sad songs and all that stuff, poor you. But it really sucks. And I know, to be honest, a lot of people I know in the industry at the moment, a lot of the best people in the industry are kind of considering leaving.
Yeah.
Because, and I guess it's a cycle that will always continue. You have genuinely talented people going, fuck this.
I mean, small violins and stuff, and obviously there's bigger problems in the world, but problems are relative. Within the video games industry, that's a problem. I mean, it's a problem that needs to be fixed. So you can play your small violin, but
it's just
nice.
It's just one of those things.
It's just nice and competent music.
People are like, oh, it must be amazing to get paid to review games. It's like, yeah, you don't get paid much, and nobody likes you. Nobody thanks you for it.
Yeah. There are ups and downs, and that is definitely one of the downs.
It's not so much that people don't thank you for it; it's that you regularly get attacked for it.
Yeah, called that word.
I don't mind not being thanked. It's more just having people sending you death threats and stuff.
I always enjoy them
because you enjoy Devil May Cry.
I know. How
Fuck
dare
you guys?
Fuck you twat.
Fuck you. Anyway,
Sam, before we move on from this question, I just want to test one thing on you. This is the idea of having different opinions on games within the office. What do you think when I say the words
I'm not going to say
Europa Universalis 4?
I think to myself, where's the nearest bridge?
Because
I'll jump
as a
off.
contrast, I've got an erection.
It is, it's one of the best games from last year.
So that's a really good example.
I'm glad you enjoyed it, Christopher Bratt.
What a mature response.
It's beautiful.
Well, it's beautiful. But finally, before we go, we have one last thing. Sorry, this has been a lengthier podcast than usual. I apologise for that. But here we go.
Miller Instinct.
That's right.
Baby.
We're back with Miller Instinct.
And I'm back.
Which we haven't done for a few weeks because...
Well, I haven't been here for 2 weeks.
You haven't been
then
here.
we forgot the one before that. Classic video gamer.
So it isn't dead. We just forgot.
Yeah, I'm back. I'm
He's
ready.
back.
I'm a little scared, a little nervous, got the fear. But, let's go ahead. Let's plough ahead. Let's see what I get asked today on Miller Instinct.
On Dave's recommendation, I'm going to pick a question that makes us all feel a little bit awkward.
Oh.
So... Oh,
I'm
no,
aroused.
this is too awkward.
No, just do it.
go on.
Just do it now. Come
Get
on.
it done.
Get it done.
Matt, Chris, and Dave snog, marry, avoid.
Go on.
Oh, man.
Oh, I'm uncomfortable.
Come on, it's Miller Instinct. Go really quick.
I'm uncomfortable.
Okay.
Why did I do
Get
that?
off Simon's lap.
Oh, gee. This is the worst one yet.
Hey, big guy.
Come on, clock's ticking.
Okay.
This is Miller Instinct.
I would marry Dave.
Really?
I would snog Matt and I'd avoid Brett.
That works.
I
That
think you
works.
went with that answer because you're about to probably move in with Brat and you want to make sure that he doesn't think you want to snog or marry him when
Yeah.
actually you want to
Oh,
do
yeah.
both.
I did not enjoy that. That was not fun.
I can see you're really embarrassed. Brilliant.
Yeah, I got a bit red.
And that was a slightly longer than usual episode of the Video Gamer UK podcast.
If anyone does want to marry me, then please write in.
Answers on a postcard.
That's the saddest thing I've ever heard.
Dave's
Actually-
back to leaving the podcast with the
Actually,
most
because
depressing
this always entertains me. If you want to draw a picture of Dave marrying a video game character, just put that on the forum. That'll entertain me at some point in the next couple of weeks. So yeah,
Go
you're more than
for it,
welcome to do that.
That'd be,
Oh, actually, crap. There's a podcast competition running until next week. It's on the forums as well. You can win a video game of your choice. All you need to do is design a next-gen game because we haven't got any to play.
Yes, so you can do that and you can win a game of your choice.
Yeah, which is pretty good, right?
Thanks
Up
to
to £50.
shop2.net. And also, if you just
Them
post on the
things.
forum, you can also vote for your member of the month, etc. We've done this every week.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you've only just started listening to the podcast, then I'm sorry, this is rude, but I'm not going to repeat it again. Anyway, thank you very much for joining us. My name is Matt Lees, and this is my second to last week. Next week will be my last podcast with Video Gamer UK.
son.
So suck it up, baby. I'm joined by Chris Bratt,
Hello, my name's Chris Brett.
Simon Miller,
In darkness, the sun brings light.
and Ty Bride, Dave Scammell.
My girlfriend is going to be so disappointed in me.
Just in general. Just in general.
Nothing new there. Thanks very much for listening. Bye.
Why?